today I want to talk to you about a little indie game. Wait, can you hear me okay? Bah! Bah! Okay, I think you can hear me okay. I want to talk to you about a little indie game called Magic the Gathering. You may have heard of it. it's pretty well known. And what I want to focus on is Magic the Gathering Shandalar first. This is a classic game, it is an excellent game, and it is a game that I remember fondly from my childhood. See, Magic the Gathering Shandalar takes one of the best aspects of Magic the Gathering and puts it to the forefront. And that is the fact that Magic the Gathering is actually, arguably, better played against a computer than it is against people. I'm going to need to back that up, so please let me. See, Shandalar takes a game that is traditionally a competitive game. You sit down in front of another person. I'm not going to go into detail on everything about Magic the Gathering. I'm going to assume that you have some familiarity with that, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked the video. I'm not going to go into detail about anything about Magic that needs to be fixed or edited or re-advised, with one notable exception that's going to come up about halfway into the video. What I am going to talk about primarily is Forge Adventure, which has been come out fairly recently, and is a spiritual successor to Magic the Gathering. The Shandalar, that is to say. But first, let me talk... Get that be out of your text bubbles. I want to talk about Shandalar. It has to be at least below the arrow. Come on now. Shandalar, this is a screenshot here. Literally the first screenshot on Google. I do not have it installed right now, though arguably I should. Is a classic game from 1997. It takes Magic the Gathering and makes a proper video game out of it. One where you play as someone who's walking around trying to kill all of the evil wizards. There's a wizard for every single color, and they're all evil, even the white one, for some reason. Followed by a duel against Urzakan the Destroyer, who... I don't know if Urzakan ever actually made it into Magic the Gathering proper. Shandalar actually is a canon Magic the Gathering plane, though. I'm just going to do a real quick check here. No, there actually is no Urzakan card. That's actually kind of interesting. Anyways, the core concept of Shandalar is, let's take the game Magic the Gathering, reconfigure it for an audience that wants to play it on PC, build an engine that can play Magic the Gathering on PC, and then present this to the player base that wants to play when they're at home and don't have anybody else to play against, that wants to play in a new format, that wants to play an RPG and run around a world and explore, but doesn't quite want to learn a new system. They want the comfort of being able to play something they know, specifically Magic the Gathering, of course, naturally. You'd expect that at this point, and I certainly hope. So, how does it do this? It takes the gameplay of Magic the Gathering one-to-one. Shandalar just... Let me see if I can grab a... There's a perfect combat. There's a perfect screenshot. Oh my gosh, I could not have asked for a better one. It takes... The playing mat, it takes the phases, your mana, your health, your deck, your discard pile, or graveyard if you prefer. It gives you a separate window for your hand, and loads up a really, honestly, very snappy interface. It has that very strong 1990s computer RPG aesthetic, the kind you see in Might and Magic and other Might and Magic games. Honestly, there's a lot of Might and Magic in here. I mean, I'm not gonna name drop Betrayal at Krondor or Ultima 7 or it's that style of retro PC RPG in everything it does. And to be frank, that was more the aesthetic of old Magic the Gathering cards. Modern Magic the Gathering cards have a clean, sleek, polished look in all the artwork that is very fancy, very beautiful, very striking. Whereas Magic the Gathering cards, when they first came out, when I played them, all had more of a look of your 1960s sci-fi fantasy novel cover art with, Conan the Barbarian, or like some story that you've never heard of that you see in a library that has a dude in a loincloth holding up a sword. Very Star Wars original artwork sort of vibe, except fantasticized. That's the one, probably. And there was a charm to it. I'm not just going to say there's no charm to Magic the Gathering now. I could, but I'm not gonna. See, because this game emphasized what Magic the Gathering already did well, is give you that type of feeling. I don't know who this is. This is someone who I apparently just stole the artwork from, or the screenshot from. Regardless, go look them up if you wanna. I don't know. Oh, it's a YouTube channel. Yeah, cool. Anyways, if you want to see gameplay of Shandalar, I do recommend Pro Jade. That's somebody who I've followed for some time, who did a full couple playthrough of Shandalar and playthrough of Forge as well. But my focus right now is want to be on the game design, because how do you take Magic the Gathering and properly slot it into a video game? Well, for the actual combat system, you have exactly this. For the actual combat system, you have a board to play Magic the Gathering on. What more could you ask for? This is something that we've seen Magic the Gathering revise in more modern iterations. For example, please. There we go. It's not fundamentally different from the layout of Arena. At the end of the day, it's effectively the same thing. What you're trying to get is a way to represent a tabletop card game on a computer screen. And there's only so many ways to do that, and it works well. Arena takes the Magic the Gathering and makes it a competitive, modernized game in the style of Hearthstone or Gwent, taking the traditional paper game and putting it onto a computer. But it doesn't take anything in the RPG direction. It doesn't even touch on the RPG side of things. It just gives you a new format to play the game, and, more importantly to Wizards of the Coast, a new avenue to buy cards. Let's be honest here, Magic the Gathering makes cash. Let's not pretend for any brief moment that Hasbro is making these games out of the goodness of their hearts. So, they are not terribly incentivized to make a full campaign game out of Magic the Gathering the way they were in 1997, when Wizards of the Coast was a fairly plucky little company who... well, it was a smaller company. When was... This was 2 years before Wizards of the Coast was acquired by Hasbro. Just for reference. This is when Magic the Gathering was made by people who wanted to make Magic the Gathering for the sake of Magic the Gathering, not for profit incentives. Now, that's not to say that Magic the Gathering is not good anymore. Mark Rosewater is still one of the greatest game design visionaries that the industry has ever seen. I am not going to discredit anything about the Magic the Gathering team, and even the big complaint I have about Magic the Gathering that I'll bring up later on is something that the team has tried repeatedly over and over to address and resolve with varying degrees of success. I'll get into that later. Put a pin in that. I should have set up hand tracking for this. I did the whole raise my hand and put a pin in it I did thing, and it just doesn't show. Anyways, so that's the difference in the time frame. That's the difference in the world at that time. 1997 was a different era. I don't need to tell you that. Many of you weren't born then. Anyways, so Shandalar. Sorry, need some water. So, what do you do in Shandalar? You walk around a world following a very loosely connected series of story beats, and every once in a while you will find an oasis, a town, and everywhere the terrain varies based on wherever you're walking. Anywhere that you see in the world, oh yeah, and roads. If on roads you just get higher speed and lower encounter rate. That's literally it. Anywhere that you walk, enemies can spawn in a little ways away from you, giving you a chance to react and move for the terrain's type, be it a plains, be it a forest, be it a swamp. Enemies will spawn in and start walking towards you. You can walk away from them, you can walk towards them, you can engage them, you can run. All these things are part of the video gamey aspect of it. You have a couple of overworld abilities in the game. You can what are they exactly? I don't recall entirely. Regardless, that's not terribly important. We're going to be focusing more on the forge abilities in the near future, but I just wanted to make you aware of that thing. Following that, there are dungeons. Dungeons in... Please open. Please open. Please open. Thank you. Dungeons in Shandalar are fairly simple affairs. Partially because this is an early game. This is 1997. Video gaming was a niche industry at best. The way these work is you walk down these hallways. The enemies are stationary. Anytime you get to a area that you cannot see the other side of, it will reveal as soon as you have line of sight. And these little dice give you modifiers for your next battle. You start with a Hypnotic Spectre. Enemy has +3 health. You get an extra land and play at the beginning of the game, and so on and so forth. Little modifiers to spice things up a bit, to make it a little bit spicy. And that's about it. By and large, the only other thing to mention about it are the towns. And that is... me pull up the generic town image, because it's everything that you would ever dream for it to be. Everything that you could imagine out of a Heroes of Might and Magic style world. Behold its glory. This is what a town looks like. Your options include edit your deck and sell cards, something that you can... editing your deck is something you can do anywhere in the world, but here you can actually sell. Just walk away. Talk to the wise man, i.e. ask for a quest. This is what it means. You can buy a couple of cards. I think there's like 8 or so cards in a shop. Or get some food, because this is a classic game, and classic games means that you have stupid restrictions that are annoying. In this game, you have food. If you run out of food, you move at 25% move speed and every enemy can encounter you. I think you also lose some of your maxed health per second or something. I don't know. Regardless. Also clear on the inventory here are these gems for each of the colors and one of the abilities. Each of the colors has an ability. Whites, I believe, dispatches a nearby enemy. Greens, I believe, makes you run faster in rough terrain. Things like of that nature. I feel like blue might be a teleport, regardless. This is the bread and butter of Shandalar. You walk to a town, you buy some cards. You fight an enemy, you win a couple cards from defeating them. You get a quest to go to a location. What is this guy's quest right here? Defeat a warlock for any fast effect. So you can get an instant or interrupt spell if you defeat a warlock type enemy, who will now be a guaranteed spawn from the nearby enemies when you walk around the world. Okay, are you with me so far? Are you with me? Do you track? This is all good stuff. This is all fun. This is all great. Now, that's pretty much all I'm going to cover for Shandalar. That's most of it, and most of it is what you're going to see repeated here in a few moments. Because now, we are going to talk about Forge. Forge Remastered is a game in which you can fight enemies in a Magic the Gathering style world with a pop-out for your cards in your hand. You have various items that can let you start with various equipment things on the board. You have the Magic the Gathering turn order here, health, and all of your graveyard and effects of that nature. And you have a deck that you can play with. Forge is made initially as... Yes, I would like to keep my hand. Forge is made initially as a game that is a way to play Magic the Gathering online before Arena came out. It was a way to play Magic the Gathering using the glory of the internet. Something that, it should be pointed out, has always existed in some fashion, such as with Cockatrice, I believe was another common one that was available. It has been available for a long time. Oh wait, I just died from putting in. I'm mostly trying to focus on just the mechanics here. And these are the mechanics. You play a land, you can play a creature, you can play a larger spell. I'm going to play the spell. Why not? Screw it. Heck the police. Sure. And my wall is a ring bearer, I guess. I don't know what that even really means, but whatever. I'll block something. Sure. Buddy, I'm mostly... Yeah, thanks. Buddy, I'm mostly trying to show off the game. I'm not, like, actually trying to play a proper game right now. Oops. Anyways. Put the bow on it. And you can see how the flow of the game works. Things pop up here when they're on, quote-unquote, the stack, as in abilities that are about to activate. I have just received Smaug as a creature in play, a 6/6 flying dragon that obliterates things in the face whenever it hits them. I have a bunch of slivers in play because I decided to highlight using a sliver deck, since slivers are kind of explosive in how quickly they can end games. I figured it would be a good way just to highlight some of the systems. Murder this thing, please. Sure, you killed my sonic screwdriver. I don't even know why I have a sonic screwdriver. What even is Magic the Gathering nowadays? So, we have our creatures. Oops, I meant to... Okay, whatever. And you go through the turn order. Abilities that are about to affect the board pop up. If the enemy performs an action like looking at their cards, it shows up down here. Any effects are automated. And you have a delightful button over here called Alpha Strike, so you can send everything face the way God intended you to play Magic the Gathering. Congratulations, you have no board. I care not for your board. Please perish. Beautiful. And then every time you win, you get a handful of cards, with the ability to tag them for sale immediately available on here so that you can sell them quickly the next time you go into a town. Actually, I might keep that. That's the game. That's how the game works. You can see the similarities. Towns actually have proper structures that let you buy cards. This is the best way to play Magic the Gathering. I'm not going to be focusing on gameplay for most of the rest of the stream. I mostly wanted to highlight how the things work. Now, why is this the best way to play Magic the Gathering? To start out with, let's take a look at this card right here. Flying, Protection from Black, for 2 mana, 1/1. Sure, whatever. This thing... If you play this in a casual game with friends, if you are playing a chill game with people that you know, and your opponent is playing a black deck, and you play this in it, you're a dick. If you are tuning your deck specifically to screw over your opponent, that is considered a dick move. So, generally, outside of very specific meta purposes, a large contingent of the parts of Magic the Gathering have protection from a certain color. And in general, this is not something that you normally would use in most games. Maybe you would here and there. Maybe there's some specific meta reason that you want to fight against certain decks that didn't have protection. Maybe this base stats are just good enough, or the other abilities are good enough that you're okay having it. But that changes in this sort of game. In this sort of game world, if I am in the green areas, fighting green enemies, it is no longer a dick move to equip protection from green cards. It is in fact a tactical advantage. It is a smart move. It is a choice that is going to be good rather than a thing that's going to make my friends sad. Why would it make them sad? Because in Magic the Gathering, if you're playing cards that are specifically tuned to an opponent that say, hey, target opponent cannot interact with this card, target opponent cannot play the game, target opponent basically it loses on their face if you play this card, that's not fun for them. And the game ends and it's not fun for you either. Neither of these solutions are great. But it's a staple of the game. Protection against artifacts, +1/+1 if you're attacking a zombie. Tap to destroy target djinn or genie. Things like this are very common in Magic the Gathering because of the way that the core game is designed for all these types of interactions. But in general, very few of these interactions see play on the average deck, on most players' deck, on the average general player. So, that makes this, and not just Forge, but it makes this a better way to play Magic the Gathering, because you can play a deck that does really, really rude things. You can play a deck based on the idea of getting death touch creatures with first strike that wreck your opponent. You can play a sliver deck, which no self-respecting person would do IRL. Like, that's just science. You can play these like some more rude, harsh blue counter decks that might not be fun to play, that might lose your friends to play in person, and still have a great time because you are screwing up with the computer. Also, I'm just gonna go quiet for one moment and fight this. What are you? You're a raccoon? You're a panda. I'm gonna fight this panda. Watch this. Hold on. Put up live split right now, okay? I'm gonna play the Hive. What do I got to play out? Not much, actually. We'll put the bow on the auger. Go. Alright. Mountain. Drop a sliver. Go face. The enemy's health total will vary based on the enemy, and in general there's a reflection how difficult they are. A health total of 15 is considered to be a pretty decent enemy, a good target to fight. We'll grab another land. Grab another forest, sure. And I'm not afraid of that thing, so I'll swing. Killed my auger. Do not care about that. Alright. Play this. We'll drop the Thorncaster because that's a lot of face rudeness. Honestly, I could just attack with everything right now. I might lose the pred. Honestly, losing the pred's bad, so I'll swing with everything but it. They'll have to double block. Resolve these in any order. I do not care. Ping, ping. We'll play another Pred Sliver because this thing gives me extra damage on all of my dudes. Play that out. Play the Aether Spark, which is a really cool card, honestly. And I didn't know the Aether Spark was a card until recently, and now I see it and it's like, oh my gosh, this is one of my new favorite cards. Swing with everything. Pop him in the face a whole bunch of times. That was a 4-minute game. That's important. That was a 4-minute game. And my rewards are a rare and 2 uncommons. Sure, why not? Nothing I care about right here. Actually, screw it, I'll take that. I'll put that directly into my deck. Yeah, why not? That's actually kind of cool. Tossed in there. So, Imagine you're playing with another person. Imagine you're playing with another human being on this beautiful green earth. And you sit down against them who is playing a panda deck, or a bear deck, or whatever they were playing, because I don't know what they were playing because I killed them too quickly on account of me having a whole bunch of slivers. And the game takes 4 minutes, and the opponent, who never even got a single damage on you, looks down and says, "Oh, good game." Packs up their cards, goes home, lights them on fire, cries himself to sleep, and never plays Magic the Gathering again. Hashtag relatable. So, that... so that is a potential experience. That is a thing that can very easily happen if you get stomped. I remember one time in War Machine, someone wanted to play against me with a list and they pulled out one of the strongest Warcaster in the game. I'm like, oh, they're practicing for a tournament. I pull out my counter to that Warcaster because, well, it's a tournament, and if I saw that Warcaster is one of their options, I would play it out. I figured they were, prepping for a big event. Turns out they were a new player who grabbed that caster because someone on Reddit said it was the strongest one available, and I stomped them into the ground to the point where they couldn't win even if they did know what they were doing, which they didn't. I can almost guarantee you that person never played a second game of War Machine. At least not that story, because... So, that's not a problem here. Now, yes, not having the social aspect of the game is a downside, and it would be nice to be able to have that type of aspect of the game, to be able to say, hey, I would like to play with friends. But you can go out and play with your friends. You can go out and hang out. You can go watch a movie. You can go smooch your friends. And you can go play Magic the Gathering with them. This fills a different role, which is Magic the Gathering as gameplay as opposed to Magic the Gathering as social activity. Which is a different intent, which is a different goal, which is a different mindset. And these equipment change and break the game in delightfully fun ways. Every time you lose a battle, your max health goes down, and your max health, by the way, starts at 10 out of 10. Right now, mine is 18 out of 18, but it starts at 10 out of 10 max health, and every time you perish, you lose some of your starting health until you get to a town to rest. This is a really good idea. I like the way this takes the idea of the RPG aspect and says, if you lose too many times, you're going to get stomped until you get back to a town unless you have a deck that comes online fast enough to protect you. Which some decks aren't. Some decks rely on having a high health pool to be able to play a mid-game or control type game. Which also means that early in the game, you're going to be affected a lot more heavily by things that are... by aggro decks, by things that hit the ground and hit the board running, because if you can knock out 10 HP, then you're good to go because your opponent only has 10 health, something that is not true in a regular game of Magic the Gathering. It changes the tactics a bit. But once you have these tactics changed, you can play a late-game artifact deck that focuses on getting Cityscape Levelers and Calderas in play, that cause a late-game circumstance. You can play something that's just going to tempo out a bunch of 7 and 8 in cost creatures over the course of the match. That all of a sudden that becomes less of a problem because you have more health, so you can survive it. Okay, let's talk about that's Magic the Gathering meta stuff, but that's also is Magic the Gathering meta stuff as affected by the RPG aspect of both Forge and Shandalar to an extent. Now, let's go back here. Let's talk items. Let's talk items because this makes the game feel amazing. We have 7 slots. An ability slot, is this one here, lets me heal half my health. So it lets me heal outside of a battle. The other slot is a teleport. Anytime you visit one of the big cities, you can collect its rune, and you can teleport to that city. Okay, whatever. Those are field effects. There's some other field effects. This one's weird. I forget what it does. You get a slimy staff. I don't remember what that means. But Spellbook goes in your left hand. Starting hand +1. Your starting draw is 8 cards, and your maximum hand size is 8. That's incredible. For some decks, that's game-breaking. That is obliterative to some enemies. if you have the right set. Likewise, Bone Splitter is a piece of equipment that lets you that gives you extra damage. Having this on the battlefield at the beginning is crazy. Body armor, the one I have simply gives me more max HP because that's what I want from it. That's what I'm looking for out of my body armor. Red, black, blue, white, green. Right, I got them all. My left hand gives me that Heart Piercer bow that you saw me use at the beginning of the game. My right arm is shield. Interesting that the character defaults to left-handed, by the way. I mean, they don't because it depends on if they're facing forward or backwards. But it says slot right, which means that it implies that their right hand is on a shield, which implies they're left-handed. Anyways, this lets me start with a 0-4 wall. Remember the problem of wanting to play a control deck early in the game and that not working out well? Okay, buy a shield. All of a sudden, 10 health is not a barrier. If you have a 0-3 or a 0-4 wall token in play on turn 0 that you start out with, that lets you play these mid-game and controlling decks while you only have a starting health of 10. This makes a massive difference. The Heart Piercer bow gives you an equipment that can do damage to the enemy's face or board on turn 0. Extra health. And the Dark Boots from the black area gives you negative health. -2 health, but I start with a creature in play. Starting with a creature in play that can equip the bow is my current combo. Earlier, I would run the book and combine the book with something such as the Magic Shard, which gives you a one-time mana boost, or you could equip the Axed. I don't know why it's Axed, but you could equip the Bone Splitter Axe at the beginning of the game. This lets you customize the way that you hit the ground running. And I love this. I love this as a concept. It's beautiful. It's smart. It's clever. This is a great idea. And is something that the original Shandalar didn't really handle. Something that it was outside of the scope of the original Shandalar to manage. Now, let's talk neckpiece. There is an item that I have. First of all, I'll show you the items just so you have them outside of just me talking and yapping about. I have a 0-4 wall token. Yeah, beautiful. Love it. Clattering Augur cannot block, but technically you can return to your hand from the graveyard, but it's useful just because it's starting with a 1-1 in play. I start the game against an enemy with 11 health, already with a 1-1 in play on turn 0. The Heart Piercer bow just pings an enemy when I attack, but would I put this in my deck? No. It's not high enough value. This is not a high enough value card for me to put in my deck. It's just not. But starting with it in the battlefield? Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? Being able to play that and activate it right out of the gate? That's phenomenal. That's incredible. That is so powerful. Now, at turn 1, I have a 1-1 that pings something for 1. And look, he played a 1-1. Guess what, buddy? I'm going to attack you, shoot your guy, and then hit you for 1. It's good. Traveler's Amulet is the one I want to talk about, though. These are the 3 other things I have, but this one changes the core of Magic the Gathering. This makes Magic the Gathering fun. This fixes the single biggest problem that Magic the Gathering has had since its launch. Is that a big thing to say? Is that a bold statement? I think it is. But you know what? I'm going to double down on it. Give me a second here. There it is. So, Magic the Gathering made a mistake. A catastrophic mistake. A new game dev mistake back when we were all genuinely and unironically new at game design. When we all were new game devs. And that is, you shuffle your resource into your deck. You shuffle lands that you need for mana into the same deck that you are drawing playable cards out of. Meaning that every game, there's a 10 to 15% chance that you will have too many or too few lands in your opening hand. Just by the nature of statistics. If you have too many lands in your opening hand, congratulations, you have no tempo, you have no board, you are going to get stomped on by anything aggro, and probably anything mid-range unless you can start recovering very quickly. If you start the game with too few lands in hand, congratulations, you can't play anything, scoop up your cards and go home. Both of these are the worst play experiences that are so easily avoided. These are both play experiences that are blindingly negative, because all you do is sit there and watch your opponent play the game. Well, you cannot. Well, you do not. Well, you sit there and lament your choices in life. It's not a good experience. But this right here, in the game, and honestly, if I played Magic the Gathering again, I would argue that this should be a house rule for the game. Start with a Traveler's Amulet in play on turn 0. On both players. Being able to search and add an extra land to your hand is a good idea. Likewise, there's a lot of other cards, a lot of other cards, the entire scry mechanic, for goodness sake, from top to bottom, that helped to fix this problem, because without it, early game, again, chance of getting screwed in either direction. Late game, once you're established on the board, once both players have played out their opening hand and a handful of things, late game, 40% of your turns start by drawing a card off the top of your library that you can't use. Late game, you have enough mana, and if you draw a land, cool, you drew a card that is not meaningful to play. Meaning that control decks and late game decks need to have some way of tutoring or searching or scrying or some way of handling that. And again, Magic the Gathering's game designers are phenomenal. They've thought about this. They've fixed it. They've added countless effects over the years, from scry to everybody having various tutors to revealing cards and then putting some on the bottom of your library so you can sift, to deck land thinning, lands that search for other lands, so those lands are not in your deck anymore, so you don't have to worry about drawing them late game. They've done 1,000 things to fix this. But fundamentally, it's a terrible idea. Fundamentally, it's an awful idea. I've long since said that Hearthstone, with its number of random effects, random triggers, and random abilities that literally do things that cannot be predicted, with a card pool of everything in the current Magic the Gathering meta, in the current Hearthstone meta, has less randomization than Magic the Gathering, simply because Hearthstone has a 30-card deck with a max of 2 cards of each, as opposed to a 60-card deck with a max of 4 in Magic the Gathering. Or not max, but average, I should say. And Hearthstone has your resource appear every turn guaranteed. You're always going to get +1 resource that you can use directly into your hand every single turn, no matter what. No matter what. It's going to be there. It's always there for you. And other card games handle this too. I mean, just look at Force of Will, a game that I think is just a really good game that is Magic the Gathering but better. Force of Will, you have 2 decks, one which has your resource and one which has your playable cards. And every turn you draw, you can choose which deck to draw from. Do you need more resource? Do you need more cards that you can actually play? It's a much better system. Plus, Force of Will also has the bonus of that even if you don't play any cards, your character that you play as has some innate abilities. I could do some more stuff on that. I played a little bit of it and honestly really enjoyed what I played of it. From a game design standpoint, it's a lot better than Magic the Gathering at a base level, but at a base design level. Though Magic the Gathering, again, has the cultural impetus and has come so far and over so long. But anyways, the ability to have the ability. I mean, yeah, actually, yeah. The ability to have an item that grants you the ability to search for a land is insane. It's so good. It's extraordinarily good, and I will absolutely rant about this for as long as necessary because of how good it is. And also, it's not free. I had to actually travel to a faraway land, quote unquote, to a part of the game world where I could acquire it. I'm I'm stomping low-level enemies right now, by the way. Yeah. Sure, just... Buddy, I'm just trying to finish the game real quick so I can finish, you know, talking. I'm just trying to yap here. You know what? No, this isn't getting... You don't know that I'm allowed to have that. That doesn't exist for you. Yeah, okay, you're toast. Get wrecked. So... where does this go wrong? Because there are a few places where it does. There's a few places where this game, in all of its beautiful design, and in all of its magnificent effects, simply fails to shine. And... where's my notes? My notes are covered up. The first thing, honestly, UI UX. The actual battlefield has a couple major problems. And I'm going to show it to you now. Fine. Oh yeah, the music is a big problem. I'm using music from Dark Fantasy Studio that cost me like $20 for the entire suite. All the music they use in the actual game itself gets DMCA copyright flagged, so if they want the game to be more popular for streamers, they should fix that. It'll cost them a couple of nickels. Seriously, get to the Dark Fantasy suite. Stop using the DMCA audio. But anyways, something you probably noticed as I was playing. Each of these here are the phases of a game: upkeep, draw, main phase 1, the quote-unquote before combat step. They declare attackers, declare blockers, first strike damage, combat damage, I don't know. This is all combat stuff. Main phase 2, end time, no, end turn, and it's the end step. I don't know why it has a T there. It's the end step, and cleanup. This needs to be cleaned up. All this needs to be cleaned up. Combat should have its own separate section. If you hit OK too many times in a row, congratulations, you have messed things up. You have messed everything up, and everybody's angry at you. By everybody, I mean yourself. Because all you have to do is hit OK one too many times, and it skips over your attack. I can no longer attack. I accidentally hit OK. I didn't accidentally, because I knew what I was doing there. I hit OK too many times, and now I don't even have an enemy that a character that can attack. I will lament this until my end of days. Play a sword. That can be frustrating. I would separate the attack phase by a half second or honestly 0.75 second fade in that changes the portrait to an angry face or to a grin or a rictus, or even if it doesn't do that, changes the color of the sidebar red. Have it just that half second fade in of red would significantly change the experience. Buddy, you're not even playing anything. What are you doing? There. Boink. And just make the game a world better. Now, let's protect this nerd. I'm going pretty quick here. No, that one. There. But there's also a lot of small moments that are easily skipped over. What is going on right now? What is going on right now? Why did the game freeze and half of the things on the board gray out? The answer is right here in the small text on the bottom. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage, I can deal 2 damage to any target and you draw a card. Okay. But OK is grayed out, cancel is grayed out, because this is not an effect that can be cancelled. Apparently. And it doesn't really show me what's going on. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? I would argue that a picture of the card that sparked whatever effect is going on should be visible here. This text bar should be at the top of the screen, I would argue, with a picture of the card that is affecting it. Or maybe even an arrow pointing to the card that is causing it. Or maybe your cursor becomes an arrow, and an arrow starts on the card, and anywhere that you move your cursor across the screen pulls that arrow so that you can say, oh, I'm dragging this from that. I'm dragging from the Sword of Fire and Ice to their face. You see what I'm saying? I think that would drastically fix one of the biggest core problems the game has. UI-wise, at least. But I'm not done. I do have a few more quibbles about the UI. I figure that most of these are not going to change because Forge has been around for, like as I've said before, for a hot minute. This stack up here is good. This tells you what's about to happen. Click 1 to resolve? Sure. Great. Love that. Fantastic. Can't wait to push more buttons. Heart Piercer Bow is broken right now, just because of gaming. Okay. Ooh, this thing's fun. Thanks. So right here we have a really nice way of designating what type of things you want to play. This card can be played in 2 ways. You choose how you want to play it. And I can choose right here. Now, I know this is going on, but someone who's getting into the game is going to get frustrated. What's going on? Why did the things go gray out? Well, it's the Heart Piercer Bow. Again, having a line come from the Heart Piercer Bow. And 1 click sets it. It might be annoying to have to click multiple times or double click, but if I click that, or if I put the cursor over this to see what it says, and then accidentally click it, too bad. I have effectively already committed to it. Now, this line is still here, because this attack is still ongoing. We're actually in the middle of the attacker step. And now this has popped up, which is good. But this becomes cluttered. It becomes unclear. In the gameplay moments where it's extremely important for it to be clear. Ah, there it is, popped in. All the card art is pulled from a database online, which honestly I'm fine with. That's great. That means that you don't have to rip all the card art and have a massive file. It does mean sometimes the load times exist, but that's fine. This right here is what I'd like to see for all the effects. I can choose what my defender is. I like this. This is good. I like that. It's pleasant. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is up here now. See, this is happening. At the beginning of your upkeep, we move a time counter from this card. It's actually over here with 5 time counters in the Exile's Fate. Whatever. Okay, look. I don't care about this. This happens every turn. This is guaranteed to happen every turn. Okay? And if I click Auto Yield, it will take care of it for me. Which is great. I love that. All of a sudden, I'm not even thinking about it. That's going to happen every turn from here on in, passively. That's what I want to see. Love that. Love that for us. Love that for all of us. Now, next time we get to my upkeep, happens, triggers, flags, goes away. This doesn't save between games. Every single time you open the program, everything that you have set to flag as auto-resolve is reset. And all the little things that you set to just do it, come on. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of effects in Magic the Gathering that you don't want to micromanage. A creature that gains +1 attack every time it attacks, cool, just do it. I know it gains +1 attack. I don't want to spend my time focusing on that. A card that gives you a bonus anytime that you... Oh, he killed it. How rude. Now, if I pressed OK one too many times, I would have lost my attack again. Oh, all of his swamps are creatures now. That's kind of cool. Unfortunately for him, it means I can attack and kill his swamps. which is actually catastrophic for him. Buddy has no idea. The AI could be improved, but I will be honest with you. That's kind of a non-issue. Because I'm not going to concern about that, because AI can always be improved. That's not even a thing to worry of. There, pop that. He's going to kill this. Don't care. Put that there. His thing dies because he can't pay the upkeep because I killed his swamp. Which is actually very funny. Hey, this thing, the thing I played a while back, now it's actually cast and exists. Do you want to play it? Absolutely. And that way it pops up as a very clear, do you want to play this card, is great. And then it pauses again and says, hey, press plus button to resolve, because maybe you have another card or effect that will affect this as it's coming into play. That's fine. Now I can exile a creature. Okay, fine. If I hit OK again there, I would have lost part of my main phase. It's a thing. We're just going to end the game here. Now, what didn't happen right now... Yeah, what didn't happen this game, mildly lamentable, is race conditions. Situations in which multiple effects are trying to happen simultaneously. It's a common thing in games, and it's a very common problem when you're making games. And for a while, there was a major soft lock caused by a race condition of the players trying to enter a battle at the same time as entering a town, caused a complete soft lock of the game because the game tried to get you into a battle while trying to load the town, and it failed. It created a major error. Pardon. Swing. Oop, I hit one too many times. I lost part of my attack step. Whoopsie doodle. Or what part of my... Okay. The other thing is readability. You might notice here that you don't know what's really going on. I'm just hitting a bunch of buttons and beating up an enemy that appears to have a fire cat in play, I guess? I don't know. What's that about? Well, who knows? What's going on here? Your guess is terrible, because my guess, because I know what's going on. So my guess is much better than yours. I was going to say your guess is as good as mine, but that's not true at all. You just auto-yield this. It'll always happen. It's not going to happen this game either. It's okay. A race condition, that is to say a condition... Like, here we go. Perfect. I got to it. Thank you. Good. Thank you, game. Is when two things happen simultaneously. And in most programming stuff, it means that whichever one happens first, good luck, because two things will try to load simultaneously. What in Magic the Gathering terms, two effects happen at the same time. The Heart-Piercing Bow, can I pull that up? Says, when I attack, it deals 1 damage to target creature. The Herald of War says, whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Both need to flag, and I, the player whose turn it is, who's activating these abilities, get to decide what order they pop up in. This issue is similar to the other issue about the yield, about having things happen automatically. This is already yielded. This one here, I believe I already told it to yield. So it doesn't matter. I don't care what order these come in. So I can just set that. Cool, do it. But here's the thing. It's going to ask me that every single time. Every time there's a race condition, it'll ask me order. And I kind of get that, because your opinions might change throughout the course of a game, throughout the course of a situation. But this is always going to get +1/+1 when it attacks. That's immaterial to me. I don't have a way to say, make this ignore race conditions. I don't have a way to say, always activate this first or last. I don't care. And that's always going to pop up every single turn, leading towards more of a, I have to click through this now, which can be frustrating to the player. Also, he cast something. Okay. Oh, I lost 4 life for that. Okay, whatever. This, just do it. This, shoot that thing. I already told it to shoot that thing, now it's actually shooting it. Play another angel. I also love, by the way, do you see these icons next to the card? That's very nice. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Lifesteal, or Lifelink. Those are great. I love that those exist here. Those exist as a part of the visuality, so I can glance up here and say, oh, that has haste. Oh, that has haste, and what's that effect? Wither. Okay, so this has flying and wither. I can check at a glance and see what his stuff does without having to... I don't want to say without having to think about it, because that sounds a little bit awkward, but... And now it happens again. Buddy, this is already set to yield. I don't care about that. Sure, just do it. You see that annoyance. And is it a big deal? No, absolutely not. But the games go fairly quick. Detective's Phoenix? That sounds cool as heck. Why is there a Detective Phoenix? Some of these cards tell a story inherently in what it is. And honestly, I love that for us. Pluriganasi? And I don't know a lot of Magic the Gathering. I stopped playing somewhere during... just after Mirage, or maybe Urza Cycle? Somewhere in that range. Somewhere in the early 2000s. I got my cards stolen. I had literally thousands of dollars worth of cards stolen from me. And I realized that I would have to spend the amount of money I would have to spend to start playing the game again. I decided it wasn't worth it. The little pieces of paper wasn't worth it. So a lot of these cards are new to me, which leads into one of my other problems and one of the other things I would do to fix this game. Not that it's inherently broken, but there is one more travesty of UI design. And that is, in fact, this screen. Hey, want to find a creature that you're looking for? Okay, just scroll down here. Just looking for creatures? Just keep on going. Just scroll. You'll find it. Maybe you'll... No, is that it? No. There are very few ways to effectively sort. Oh, there it is. I was looking for this guy. I forgot his name. And I had to search for him manually. There are very few ways to sort. Like, yeah, you can sort by set, but I don't know what half these sets are. Just genuinely, I have no idea what the majority of these modern sets are. I could sort by type, which is what I usually do, but then things like creatures, I'm sifting through 450 creatures. I could set by color if I'm building a new deck, but okay, cool. I'm looking through, hundreds of cards at a time. Color identity, which is different than color for reasons that I cannot adequately explain. I do not know, actually, the difference between color and color identity. Rarity, which is, which is a meaningless stat in this game. Rarity is not really a function of the way that this game works. Rarity of cards only really affects how they're priced when you buy them in stores. And Planeswalker deck sort? I don't really know what that means. I actually have no idea what that means. Also, piles is broken if you want to sort them by color. It doesn't actually show the things it's supposed to. Like, it's supposed to be listing them. Piles are broken. They're just flat out broken. Anyways. So show me my mana value so I can look at my curve. Good. Where is it? Oh, there they are. Can I scroll up? No. Is this thing above this? Yes. What's no? Okay. Can I get here? Can I scroll up to see what's above that? No. Is there something above it? There absolutely is. I know for a fact there's something above that there. It's broken. It's just, a wee bit broken. There's another 5 cards in this stack that I simply cannot find. But that again, I'm not one of the core things I will say about this, if this was in C++ or C Sharp or Unity or Unreal, I probably would have applied to join the team. But I doubt they need some game designer who's just yapping at them, giving them advice when who doesn't actually, know JavaScript. This game's made in JavaScript. I don't know JavaScript. Just being blunt with you guys. I don't know. I simply have not JavaScripted. Not since like 2002. I guess I stopped doing JavaScript around the same time that I stopped playing Magic the Gathering. Interesting. Anyways, part of what makes this a problem. Oh, by the way, I sell all the cards that I don't think I'm going to use. So I already have a thick list of money sold cards already. But hold on. There was a cheap shop to refresh just so I can highlight it. 3, 2. Sure. Let's say I'm looking for an artifact. Honestly, I have an artifact deck. I have a deck that runs on artifacts. I would love to get a sweet artifact here. I can even think of a couple that would be useful. And I can sit here and go, okay, are any of these what I want? The rarity is what dictates the price. Literally nothing else. That could be adjusted later on, but whatever. Cool, now I have a different set of artifacts. Are any of these valuable? Do we want some of these? Are these cool? No? Ghost Trap? Neat, okay. Cycle. You have to keep on doing this. If you want a specific card, this is one of the only ways to find it. There's one other way of finding it that's equally fiddly, which I won't get into right now because it doesn't really apply to this. Pardon. Actually, that's kind of cool. I'll grab that. So, there's too many cards. For better and worse, Shandalar had 3 sets of cards. Freaking Jester's Cap, heck. Sure, yeah. Jester's Cap is kind of sick. Shandalar had... I see Manipulator is amazing. Wow, I got some really good cards here. Shandalar had, I think, 4 sets to go through. It had base game, Antiquities, Arabian Nights, Legends. I think it had the Dark. Unless I'm mistaken, that was it. I might be mistaken. I can look it up, actually, so I probably ought. Where's... No. Okay, so it really just initially started with the base unlimited and revised sort of thing, and then the expansion added Arabian Nights and Antiquities. And okay, so it started base game with Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Arabian Nights, Antiquities, and then they added an expansion, which I do remember, which added Legends and the Dark. That was it. That was it. That was all they had in the game. There was one base set with a couple of rare base set pieces. That is to say, the Power 9 and the cards that didn't make it through Alpha and Beta and Unlimited. And and then there were 4 expansions. Okay, 4 expansions. Okay. How many are we working with here? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 110, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 121, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30, 131, 132, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 150, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 161, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 171, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 181, 182, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. Now this is, I guess, yeah, Weatherlight was my last one. 191, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 200, 1, 2. 202 sets that I have cards for, many of which I have one card for, meaning that there are likely other sets I do not have past the 200. So, you want to find a freaking instant spell? You want to find an instant or sorcery? Cool. Hope you like this button. Hope you like this button a lot. You're going to need to be pressing this button a lot. The ability to find a specific card is virtually, well, it's actually not that hard in some spaces because of the limited number of, like, squirrel cards, for example. But by and large, if you don't find the card you want, you're going to be face-rolling this button over and over. I think that is one of the biggest problems with this entire game. And one of the things that I would completely replace. Now, how would I do that? I would say that when you start up the game, I think you should limit it to 4, maybe 6. I would say take one block. That is to say, let me just get all the way back down to cards I recognize. Well, cards that were available when I actually played the game actively is how I should phrase it. The reroll sound effect is very nice. You are absolutely correct. It's very pleasant on the ears. And again, this is an interesting game. These are all good cards, but the thing is, power creep exists. Power creep is real. And it can hurt you. Power creep is real. And it is it's very extant. Meaning that if you have a card that comes in later, it might be a literal strict upgrade over a card that has been released in the past. And hot take of the day, that's not a bad thing. Urza's Saga, I think, is the last one. Somewhere in the Urza cycle. Anyways, let me explain real quick what a cycle is. Just because it's very clear here. Sorry, let me just close some of these down. Arena. This is one of the cards that I had that got stolen. This is one of the most rare cards in Magic the Gathering. You had to have the Harper Prism book, physical book, and mail in something from the back of the book to a P.O. box, and they would send you this card. I had 2 of these cards. They are one of the most rare cards in Magic the Gathering, arguably more rare than Power 9 cards, which were part of full print sets. Anyways. A block, in Magic the Gathering terminology, is a set of multiple sets, a set of sets, if you will, that all go together. For example, Urza's Saga, Urza's Legacy, Urza's Destiny, all these sets are of a similar power level, a similar amount of number of cards. They all are designed to work together and have similar design principles and tools that are designed to be balanced across them. These are cards that were meant to be sets that were meant to be played together. You could say alongside 6th edition as well. That is the material to the discussion, though. But these sets, that is to say, Urza's block, Urza's Saga, Legacy, and Destiny, I choose this one because it's the most clearly blocked out, are a good thing to have together. That is to say, if you're starting a new game, what if the game said, let's take 2 sets, that is to say, Urza's Legacy, Saga, and Destiny, or the Weatherlight block, which is Weatherlight, Tempest, Stronghold, or I know there's a Kamigawa block at some point, or a Ravnica block, where there's just 3 other sets that come in hot with alongside each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Is actually it might be like Zendikar, Worldwake, Eldrazi might be 3 things that come together. Scars of Mirrodin and Mirrodin Besieged. Like having these sets that come out, have them as the only cards that are in that game. If you want to get the other cards, play a new game, and maybe you can choose what sets are in it beforehand. So you have 2 blocks and 1 wild card. This would give you some nice sideways options. So maybe, I wish I had left all of these closed. I'm not going to close another 200 of them because good grief. See, there's no option to close all either. Wait, is there? There is. Hey, never mind, there is. So let's say you get Zendikar and Zendikar, Rising Expeditions, and all 3 of these ones here. And then bam, you have your base set, and then you choose one bonus set. So you can grab, here's another block. Innistrad is 4 sets that link together here, right here. There's Kamigawa right there, which I mentioned earlier. And then you have things like Warhammer, because apparently there's a Warhammer thing now. I don't quite understand. Regardless. And then you take one of the set as a wild card. So you have, that way the game isn't flooded with every bloody card in Magic the Gathering. That way you don't have to worry about finding a Cyberman alongside Blue the Loyal Raptor for Owen Grady, played by Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt has a card in Magic the Gathering. Did you know that? Chris Pratt actually has a card in Magic the Gathering. It's true. That would mean that the game actually has more inherent cohesion. The game would actually play better because you would have less cards. Less options, in this case, would genuinely mean better cohesion in what you do have. Let me save. This is one of the ones I streamed with before. We're not going to sort by set. No, that's just ridiculous. Behold, Chris Pratt. Why is this still here? I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was still on the screen. Chris Pratt, Magic the Gathering card. I mean... And he's not alone. And, like, that's not even counting the freaking Indoraptor or literal Godzilla. No, I'm not memeing. Godzilla is a card in Magic the Gathering. Because, sure. Sure. Why not? Godzilla can exist. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to this. It's cool. I have nothing against literal Godzilla existing in Magic the freaking Gathering. I don't actually care about that. What I do have a complaint about is vastly different power levels sitting side by side. Which is something that tends to be apparent. Police sets piles work? Kinda. Not really. Because here we have some cards from Legends. Abomination. It's a 2/6 for 5 mana. Or Archon Legionnaire, an 8/4 for 8 mana. None of your non-artifact creatures may attack except for this. So it's an 8/4 for 8 mana with a penalty. This is a penalty. It's an 8 mana, 8/4 that hurts you. Compare that to a modern card. Cityscape Leveler, which is 8 mana, colorless, so you don't even have to worry about it being only in white decks. For an 8/8 that destroys something when it comes into play. And then can come and tramples, and can come back from the graveyard for another 8 mana, and destroy something, a chosen thing, destroys any non-land that your opponent has the moment it comes into play. For free. It just does that. Once you pay the 8 mana, you get this. It kills it, destroys something, and then when you attack, you can destroy something else. Again, we're comparing this to 8 mana, 8/4, also screw the rest of your creatures, they can't attack. This is this is the extremes, obviously. This is the heavy extremes of each side. And some cards from the classic sets are evergreen. Your Sarah Angels and, like, Norit is actually just a really good card, even in Modern Era. But the difference you have over time of power creep is drastic, and power creep is good. Power creep is natural. Power creep is not a bad word. Power creep means that over time, every time a new set comes out, things are different, and sometimes, and over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, things get a little bit more powerful. We're dealing with, 30 years of Magic the Gathering here. So it's not out of the question to make these comparisons. But when you put them all side by side in the same game, and you get gifted as a reward two creatures, one of which simply is unusable. And I don't mean that in the fun way, like where it's like, oh, it's a jank card that's silly. No, just in a way that it is mechanically worse than anything else around it. What do you do with that? Now, if you play with all jank cards, and I suggest you do, go back and play, Shandalar with its original set, it's a very different game. If you do that, we're putting the bow on here. Okay, what mana? Then all of a sudden, you have a pretty nifty game on your hands. Whoa, I'm playing with that. And I think that would just make the game so much better, so much more fun. I really do. Okay, we're gonna take this, burn it, grab a forest, play the forest, play a wild growth on the forest, and then swing for this, shoot you, so you don't block it. Cool. So then, why am I still playing this? Because it's a good game. I mean, honest answer, cards on the table. it's still fun. It's a fun game. I like it. I hope that you don't misunderstand, because everything else that I have said is... Oh, whoops, that wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to... Whoopsies. That was me killing my own guy. Why do you... Okay. Whoops. Because everything else is in service of a genuinely good game. Which also makes it more noticeable when there are little glitches. Little... I don't want to say the word failures, because that's not... Huh? Oh, sure. Oops, I tapped everything. Why do you tap that? Oh yeah, sometimes hitting auto doesn't always do exactly what your hopes and dreams would have it do. Oh, you can do that? I guess you can't attack it, regardless. Fundamentally, the game's fun. At the end of the day, you have on your hand a game that is just fun to play. What? Why didn't this attack? I hit Alpha Strike to attack with everything. Okay. Buddy, get wrecked. I've been playing a lot of this. I really have. It's fun. Hot take, I like things that are fun. Oh, yeah, whatever. I should pay attention to what things I'm selecting. No, I'm not. Never scroll up. Never look at things. Why is this not tapping to attack? Can this not attack? Can't attack or block. Why? Did he cast something that says it can't block or attack? With counters on them. Oh, I didn't even notice what that was doing that. Oh, okay. Cool. That's a neat ability. You have some big lads now. Also, I have a Durgan. Swing with things and ping their face. No, I cannot. Cool. Awesome. I'm not trying to focus on actually playing the game. I'm trying to focus on the commentary. The other last thing I would like to talk about is the storyline. The storyline's weak. That's okay. The storyline doesn't need to be strong. I would change some things. Fundamentally, a Mox is just a land that doesn't have the restriction of only playing one per turn. Moxes are extraordinarily powerful as tempo pieces, but fundamentally, they don't kill enemies, and they don't have any restrictions on what kind of decks they can go to. They're just good in every deck. I would start the player with one Mox of their choice. I would make the storyline something along the lines of, you are a small town trader who got caught up in a battlefield and starts out with a doctor tending them. You have a locket around your neck that the doctor sees and goes, "Oh my god," and that your character quickly hides because your grandmother told you to always keep it with you, but never let anybody else see it. The doctor says, "Do you have any idea what that is?" And you say, "I don't know. All I know is that it's supposed to be good." And the doctor says, "If anybody learns what you have there, every planeswalker in this world, every magician, every magic user in this world will try to steal it from you." At which point a planeswalker kicks down the door and starts sending in zombies as you run away. and learn find an old Baba Yaga in the woods that teaches you how to be a planeswalker in castings or something. Go with from that and let the locket be a Mox. This would tie your character into a certain deck. If you start out, and you can even say what color is it. Let the player choose what color it is. But if you start out with a Mox Jet, you're going to be playing black decks. You're going to want to play black decks naturally without having the player forced to lock into one color. You are organically going to want to play black decks simply by the nature of having one of the an incredibly strong black tempo piece. That's just going to organically come about. That is just going to organically become the way that you want to play the game. And I think that's a good thing, because what my idea is encouraging replayability. Rather than play the game until you get your perfect deck, I would encourage more of a draft mentality, more of a draft setup, where you play with whatever you can get your hands on, and you have not a perfectly tuned sliver deck. You have whatever nonsense, whatever ridiculous crawworm-fueled green deck that you could piece together with your Findhorn Elves. You have a jumped for joy when you found a Bird of Paradise, like you did in Shandalar. You have, oh my god, I got a Dark Ritual? Holy crap, this is the best day of my game. That is a very powerful emotion, but it's an emotion that stops being valuable when you are spamming the refresh button trying to farm Dark Rituals. This is like a complaint I've had in other games as well. And that is something that I think that would be alleviated by a shorter play cycle, where you play the game and towns have a third as many shops, where rolls cost twice as much, where you are no longer really spamming through trying to fish for things, but rather actually playing the game, fighting enemies and getting drops and going, ooh, I can use this. And with a smaller pool of 2 blocks and 1 wildcard set, you have a more realistic chance of getting the cards that you need, while still having some giant, oh my god, we found the Dungeon of the Lotus, with some giant crazy enemy that starts the game with a Black Lotus and is guaranteed to have a Jusm Jin in hand, right? You start out, you have this, you have these monuments to climb instead of these things to farm. You see the difference? It's a very important one. So a lower play cycle, a shorter play cycle, means that the players that are coming back into a new game more often. The players are going to finish a character and start a new one, rather than take the same character and use their Elf Synergy Murloc deck or whatever to grind out a new deck. I don't think that you should want them to grind. I think that grinding should be something you're trying to avoid the player being in the mindset of. I think the player should not be in the mindset of the grind set. The player should be in the mindset of discovery, because that's a better mindset in. This isn't going to be an MMO. You don't want the grind as a thing. You want each battle to be, ooh, I hope I get what I need from this enemy. And I think that shorter play cycle wildly encourages that. A smaller set makes it easier to find cards you want. If you are playing a soldier deck and you are neck deep in in cards that are not soldiers and you can't find what you're looking for, that becomes less of a problem if you're only running 2 blocks, one of which is a soldier block, and you have the cards you need. If you want equipment cards, they're there, then you can, and you're not running any blocks that have equipment in them, you're not going to get them. That's fine. You have to adapt to that and play a different thing. You have to play a different game. You have to play a different scenario. You have to change your play style for how you're building it. And this is fused to the gameplay, as you say. It is, the emotional investment is important. I mean, the core Magic is the loot box, right? Magic the Gathering is all about loot boxes at the end of the day. Opening a pack of cards is a loot box. I will die on this hill, and I have fought in this hill before. It is. It's opening a randomized pack of cards to get a dopamine rush of finding out of the discovery of what you get. And that discovery is not there when you are spamming the refresh button to grind cards, or when you are just getting what you want from the forge, or if you are having two, or the other way around, it's not there when you have so many cards with 200 sets that you simply can't find what you're looking for. This is a phenomenal achievement. They have functionally made, to my understanding, every single card in Magic the Gathering work in Forge. This already is a monumental task. I am not detracting from that in any way, shape, or form. What I am saying is that the current gameplay loop does not encourage what Magic the Gathering is best at. And I think that it can, and I think that it should. Why do I still have Traveler's Amulet on the screen? I should have... whatever. Traveler's Amulet, I talked about that earlier. But ignore that. And I think that we see the start of that beauty right here. Having these equipments, having the combos of equipments. Like, there's not a lot of equipment. There's like maybe 15 pieces of equipment in the game. If I could change one thing right immediately that would be easy to change, it would be triple the amount of equipment. There be a lot of different things that could let you really customize your desires. You know? Start with a wall token? It's amazing. What if you could start with a 0-1 sliver? What if you could start with a 1-1 zombie there's a card that comes in play with 3 time counters and it dies after 3 turns, sort of basically. What if you could start with that on turn 0? What if you could start with a 1-1 soldier? What if you could start with, you know, a lot of different pieces of equipment? What if you could pick just about any 1-cost or 2-cost non-legendary equipment? What if you could start with a short bow? All of a sudden you have a deck that can block flyers right out of the gate. Maybe you have a deck that doesn't want to have a lot of flying creatures, and having the game start you with a short bow immediately alleviates that. Immediately, right out of the gate, the moment you hit play, you can go to a town and say, oh, a short bow. That will help me a lot. That will fix things. Plus, again, combos. Clattering Augur and Heartpiercer Bow, this is a combo that blocks any most weenie decks from starting, because on turn 0, I can already ping their board for 1. I found a combo in the equipment. My last game that I played through, I relied on Bone Splitter and the wall token. So right out of the gate, I could play a slower paced late mid range deck that could have a 2/4 blocker, a wall with a Bone Splitter on it, immediately out of the gate. Maybe this card here has lets you start with +1 hand and +1 draw at the beginning of the game, +1 hand size, that is to say. Awesome. Maybe you could have a second one in your left hand, but the offhand one, which was maybe like going to be an orb or a staff or something, is much more rare. Maybe you can get equipment from bosses. There are bosses in some of these areas. This looks like he's a fairly regular scrub, but there are some enemies that have a little crown over their head that are clearly designed as boss enemies. And that reminds me, I forgot to mention boss enemies, because this game has them. This game has giant heck-off bosses. Hold on, let me load the other characters, because I think I can find one quickly here. Hold on. No. Problem is I've killed most of the bosses. And the bosses start with permanent effects in play. Usually ones that affect both players, things that help you and hurt you at the same time, with a nice little big asterisk next to them that says their deck is based around this card. This is a card that is both good and bad, but the other guy over there, buddy, it's always good for him. That sounds weird. But like that I think is a very, I don't think I know where one is. Nope. Let's head back to green. You have to actually pilgrimage to each of the cities to get their teleportal point, which is great. And each of the cities also sells an extra max health. That other max health comes from... Yeah. Is there a boss here? No, it's a leader, but not a boss. Leaders just have more health and better decks. The actual bosses have unique effects. I fought one where every turn each player got a 1/1 token in play. That's huge, right? Each player gets a 1/1 token. Except that they also started the game with a 2/2 or 3/3, I think, troll that got +1/+1 anytime another creature died. So not only were they immediately out of the gate starting with... These actual shops? Can I just fight them or... weird. Secret? No secret. So not only was there an effect on the board that was neutral, there was they had a capitalization on it. There was a reason, a explicit reason, why it was better for them than me, which is good. It made it hard. Some of the Emma are just HP sponges, fighting against a deck that has 60 health doesn't make that fight more fun, but others of them are actual characters, like various planeswalkers. I'm pretty sure that you can just find Tezzeret in the world. I found one... Oh, this looks like a really fun place to go. I found one character. Who was it? It was a red planeswalker. I'm gonna look up who it was. Red planeswalker. Not Chandra, the demon guy. Sarkhan D's nuts. No, Tybalt. I actually found Tybalt. I actually found Tybalt with a demon deck in the top of a tower as a boss. Not even like a storyline boss, though it probably was a storyline. Actually, one thing I will say also that a lot of the storylines are very easily shattered in this game. It's very easy to sequence break the game. Well, finding Tybalt is cool because here's an actual recognizable NPC. I don't really know who they are, but I can see that they have the name Tybalt and go, holy crap, that is a character with a unique name. They must be strong. Like, I mean, that's not a big stretch, right? I'm playing this deck. That feat moment where you don't realize what deck you're playing. Surge Engine is insane, by the way. I don't even know if it's actually insane. It's just insane to me. Oh yeah, I got this guy. I should be leveling him up. The two systems that I love most... Okay. The two systems in Magic the Gathering that I love most are... Okay. Sorry, just parsing for a second. We're gonna... It automatically picked another blue mana for me, so... Okay. The two systems that I enjoy most in Magic the Gathering right now are Equipment and Level Up, because Level Up feels bananas. And yeah, the sound effects are good. I really like the sound effects, especially with the character dying sound effect where they go, ah! It's so corny. It's so corny, it's perfect. I wouldn't change that for anything in the world. It's just... It's a flawless sound effect. It is just the sound effect that is the best sound effect. Oh, that regenerates? Oh, he played up a thing that regenerates it? How do we generate it? Oh. Okay, so it... Neat. That's fine. Let's level this guy up. Because I started playing Magic the Gathering at a time... I can get next turn. Can I do this? No, I cannot. Because I started playing Magic the Gathering, I guess I just win the game, that's fine. But at a time when the ability to spread out your mana cost across multiple turns, and the ability to create stats that are sticky, that is to say, equipment which creates stats that maintain themselves on the battlefield after the model that has it has perished, and Level Up, the ability to have... And Surge Engine is functionally a level up, let's be honest here. The ability to say, I have a 2-mana 3/2 defender. Sure, whatever. I have a 3-mana 1 blue and 2 colorless for a 3/2 unblockable. That's really good. I have a 6 mana, 5/4 unblockable. 3 mana from this, 1 mana from this, 2 mana from this. So it's 2 blue and 4 other mana. So for 6 mana for a 5/4 unblockable, that's pretty good. But you mean I can get all this on turn 4? Turn 2, play this. Turn 3, activate some abilities. Turn 4, activate the Surge Engine bonus power. And I have turn 4, what is effectively a 6-cost drop. That's the level up function. That's basically the same as this one, saying this can black tap for -4/-4 on a creature if I invest into the card, which also makes it more fragile because that all of a sudden becomes a higher value target that you can take down. That system is something that, to me, as someone who played more in the heyday of Magic, feels overwhelmingly strong. And again, it feels that way because I played before such things were even a pipe dream, where those functions couldn't exist because power creep is real and not something to be afraid of. Again, power creep is not a bad word. It is a thing that happens. You're telling me that I can have all of my 1/1s tap for an extra mana just for free? Crazy. Now, am I stomping some enemies here? Absolutely. Oh, a 1/1 Death Touch. I pop it with the... Never mind, he destroyed my bow. Understandable. Have a good day. Well, I attack. On the attack, I can flag. And again, these do not matter the order because they're the same effect. I would love for there to be an option in log to say, make a permanent thing. I would like for things that have the same effect, poisonous 1, poisonous 1, poisonous 1, not to come up with the select order. If they have a functionally identical effect, I feel like they should not need to interrupt me. I feel like that there should be a brief moment where the game fades into the combat section, so just to make sure that you visually see and recognize, oh, we're in combat phase, right, so that you can't accidentally click too many times. I would like for Alpha Strike not to be over there, because Alpha Strike is on the right side where the cancel button is. And if you want to hit with all the characters at the same time, you better not accidentally click something over there, because then you just die. Because then you mess it up. Not die, but then you are sad. Here's a boss. I have to beat the bear. No, I don't. I can just run by the bear. Is this boss going to actually have an effect? Are you? It's kind of cool. Ooh. Oh, that's kind of sick, actually. Do you actually have a boss effect? Oh, it's Garruk! We're facing Garruk himself! Yes! Yes, yes! There's 2 phases?! Okay, hold on. Let's track that. I didn't even know they had phasal bosses things. Okay. Garruk boss effect phase 1. Beast and Garruk spells, so when he casts himself, cost 1 less, so he has an innate ramp when with beasts. At the whenever you an opponent, me, casts a non-creature spell, put a prey counter on Garruk boss effect phase 1. So, if there are 5 or more counters on it, conjure one of his beasts on the battlefield. So if I play 5 non-beast spells, he's just going to whirlwind slam a beast onto the battlefield, and I can't stop him. That's cool! That means I have to adapt. That means I have to play a more specific type of game against this enemy. That means I need to specifically plan what I'm going to be doing, and maybe even adjust my deck for it. At the beginning, and if Garruk would be defeated, instead exile Garruk boss effect phase 1, and his life total becomes 40. Activate Garruk boss effect phase 2. So after 25 health, then we hit phase 2. Each forest you control is a swamp in addition to other land types. Beast creatures you control have +3/+3, and trample, and death touch. So my high tempo sliver deck is not going to be able to face this down. I have another deck that can, though. So I can, next time I face him, now that I know what I'm up against, I'll face him with that. At the beginning of your upkeep, conjure a card of Garruk spellbook into your hand. So basically he's going to get some beast in his hand every turn. So he's always going to have some effect on the board. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, perpetually increase the power and toughness of creatures you control and creatures cards in your hand, library, and graveyard by 1. Every time I cast something that is not a creature. Wow. At the beginning of your end step, return a random creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. And then if it dies, you exile it instead. I ain't winning this. I'll tell you right now, I ain't winning this. This is not a game that I'm going to win right now. Just, no. Hard not happening out of this. We'll make that abundantly clear. Let's see if I win anyways. It would be kind of like me, wouldn't it? It would. Oh yeah, I have this thing. That's cool. Let's see. Well, we're swinging with the auger. Pop in that guy. We need to get explosive. If we want to beat this guy, we have to explode. I have to do this way. Now I can play this. Yep, let's do it. And he destroyed my bow, which is fine. Play Yav, ma'am. That's cool. Oh, he destroyed my thingy thing. How dare. How dare. How dare. I don't even know if I should have Heart of Yamamaya in here. Roaming Throne. Whenever you trigger an ability, an effect off of one of your slivers, I choose. It triggers twice. Which should theoretically mean I'm going to get 4 1/1s. Yes. And here, again, this is annoying. There's no reason for it to do this. And we're just going to auto always yes. Wait. Always yes. Auto yield always yes. Well, there's a world where we actually do win this game, I guess. Well, let's swing with all the tokens, because every token that gets through is going to generate 2 more. Oh, it generated... Oh, whoopsies. Whatever. I get more out of this than him. What? Oh, I can have it... Oh, and it pings him for something, I guess. Twice. Auto yield. Dang! Okay, that's actually bananas. Nas. And he has 2 prey tokens, and he needs 5 for that to become a thing. Traveler's Amulet. Just to cycle this out of my deck. What do I need more of? I need more mountains right now. Yeah, I attack. 3 are going to get blocked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 make it through. And the ones that are blocked each do 12 damage to their face. So we're deep in phase 2, actually. We just kind of went real ham with this. Actually, did we just kill him now? Dang, no, we win this, actually. I take everything back, we win this. Because slivers can be explosive. I would never play a sliver deck against a human being. I just simply wouldn't. I don't think sliver decks are fun. I think they're abysmal slogs that make your opponent feel bad and make you feel just clever for stacking a bunch of effects that are infinitely raising. This deck needs card draw. Probably its biggest weakness. I just strike with every single sliver and we just win this because we're already in phase 2. Yeah, we just win this. Easy game, easy life. Meanwhile, we're creating an infinite number of slivers. Yeah, this is stupid. I love it. Don't mind me, just generating what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And the bosses are also best of 3, which is also different, and I think also good. I don't know if I don't think I'm pulling that off twice in a row. I honestly just really don't. But hey! Maybe we should believe. Well, dang. And he played a turn 2... a turn 2 4-3. The bosses are strong, too. Like, the bosses come out hard. They are, in fact, quite strong and quite rude. Which is good, they should be. They're bosses. I don't know. I'm gonna take that 4 damage. Oh, wait. Okay, so okay, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Freaking rip. Three mana available. That costs more. Can't play the Hobbit's Holiday. Can't play an Aether Spark. Can't play anything. I can play this guy. And I can just swing because screw it. Okay, he's got a big lad. We're swinging in for 6 damage. I'll block with my wall for all the good it'll do me. He's already got another card that kills me. Now my slivers are officially big. But I am officially low on health. Almost dead. The Spitefuls are online. Thorncaster is not playable. Can I play the Aether Spark? No, I cannot. Maybe Order Lull slightly. Well, I swing for everything. And ping this guy for 1. And he takes a bunch of damage. Great! Well, we're in phase 2. He destroyed my bow. And I take another 6 because I don't want this guy to die. No, what? No, no, I don't want him to die. He's gonna keep on getting big cards. I don't know what he just did there, but looks like a play mistake to me. Swing with things. Auto all of these. We've almost won. Hey, I think we win this. Right, he's getting random bonus cards, though. But it's too late. It's too late. We have done the gaming. We have won the match. Do you see how cool bosses are? Do you understand how cool a boss is in this game? And that, to clarify, was the sound effect that I love. It's so good. It's just fun. Do you see how cool these bosses are? We got a unique weapon? Are you kidding me? We got a unique weapon and a permanent +1 life? 7 kilo gold? Garruk, Apex Predator. We got him. We got literally him as a card. Garruk's Mighty Axe gives us the command of Garruk's Mighty Axe. What does that even mean? What does it mean to have the command of Garruk's Mighty Axe? It's not a card. I'll show you what it is. I don't know what it is, but I know what it means. It means that we have this. This is unique. I will, hold on, let me start the turn. Garruk and green creature spells that you cast with power 4 or more are cheaper. So it's his effect. It's Garruk's Planeswalker, Garruk's boss effect. Garruk Planeswalkers you control can also make a black and green wolf token with when this dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garruk you control. So it buffs Garruk if you're playing with Garruk stuff. And then for 2 mana and 2 crystal shards, which is this resource. Which is, in fact, this resource that you gain by playing the game and beating enemies and finding treasure. This is the secondary premium, quote-unquote, resource you use for re-rolling, as well as for some of your magic, your non-Magic the Gathering combat game magic. It comes from here. So I spend 2 of my crystals, conjure 1 of Garruk's Beast onto the battlefield under your control. Once per game. Then it goes away. We agree that's cool as hell, right? Like, we're all thinking that's super cool, right? Like, we look at that and we go, dang, that actually rules. Right? Like, you guys are with me on this? You guys look at that and go, damn, wish me I could do some of that cool stuff? You got it, right? Well, now they're all 4/4s, so I can actually swing. What is that doing? Oh, Soulbond. Huh. I guess one of the minor thing is I do wish that you could rearrange the cards. I'm not getting a second forest. I don't want to win the game yet. I want to get the thing. All I need is literally a second forest. I don't care about the game. I care about getting a... No, it's a Sliver Hive. Not quite what I need. That's cool as heck. I had no idea that... that's the other fun thing about this game, is that not having played Magic the Gathering in ever for a long time, I don't know what a lot of these cards are. I have no idea. I could have killed this person a long time ago, but... I want a second green mana, and apparently that's too much to ask. What are you doing? Why can't I get 1 more mana? I want to do cool stuff. I mean, if he attacks me, he instantly dies. He knows this, so... Okay, I can do it next turn. So, Garruk's Axe. Big green creature spells are cheaper. Planeswalkers get a buff. We're not using either of them, but we are using one of the beasts. Let's learn this. Pay blank? Yes. Conjure it? Yeah, do it. Primal Hunt Beast. Hexproof 3/3. We just got this for free. I got this by using an item. A meta, I guess is the proper term. A meta item. Also, I got a bear somehow. Yeah, this kills the enemy. That's so cool! That's so cool! And I got the card that was there. Yo, we got cool bears! That's such a neat mechanic! Look. Believe me when I say this. This game does a lot of things right. And the things that it does wrong are nitpicks. And one thing I neglected to mention is not that this is still in production, but how in production this is. How overwhelmingly in production this is. This game gets updates almost daily. Now, admittedly, most of the updates are for Forge Adventure. Most of the updates are for Forge itself, of making sure that the card mechanics work rather than adding stuff. They do add stuff as well. But this game is constantly being updated. And I just want to thank you all for joining me on this, because this, I think, is fascinating. It's such an interesting game. It's such an interesting way to present Magic the Gathering. And I love it. And I hope they continue development, and I hope that through the grapevine they hear about some of my ideas. Because I think they're decent. But clearly they are already going in the right direction. This is the best way to play Magic the Gathering right now. I would rather play this sitting next to a friend and playing co-op with the same deck, just discussing what we should do, than play against an opponent and play PvP and spend, again, 20 to 30 minutes on what could be a 4-minute game where we just sit down, whirlwind slam a bear, or fight a boss fight. Because that's what I'm here for. This is the Magic the Gathering that I missed. This is Magic the Gathering Shandalar. This is something that has had a warm space in my heart for 25 years. And it's beautiful. It is just like the original Shandalar. Beautiful, flawed, wonderful, and tragic at the same time. I pray that this gets better support than Shandalar. Though, admittedly, some people do actually still support Shandalar itself, giving it surprisingly consistent updates for newer cards. There was a big project that people did a little while back where they added Magic the Gathering Shandalar cards all the way through a lot of modern Magic, which is cool as heck. God, this Heart Piercer is bananas against these basic enemies. But it's okay to just face roll on basic enemies. I'm not fighting hard enemies. I'm fighting a stupid fox. I actually had to fight against Garruk. I didn't even think this deck was going to be able to beat Garruk. Right? So... in summary, my dear friends, video games. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that you have a wonderful evening. I hope that all of your dreams come true. And I hope to see you again real soon. Cheers, friends.